This week, the sci-fi classic The Matrix turns 20 years old. That means today we're going to stop and rank all 3 Matrix films from the worst to the best. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Chandler, and I started this channel because I was driving everyone around me crazy talking about movies way too much. If you can relate, you're probably in the right place to consider clicking that subscribe button. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. Tell me your ranking of the Matrix trilogies. Which ones do you love, which ones do you hate, and everything in between. Now, I didn't include the Animatrix in my ranking because I don't consider it a film, but if you want to throw it into your ranking, that's awesome. Let's have a nice, lively discussion. If you want my quick take on the Animatrix, I'm not really a fan. I didn't enjoy it when I watched it 15 years ago, and I didn't enjoy it this week when I rewatched it for the first time. After this video, so if you want more rankings like this one, check out this playlist up above. With that said, let's get started. Coming in last place is The Matrix Revolutions. For me, this is one of the biggest disappointments I have ever had in the theater. It takes almost everything that I loved about the original film, the heroism, the victory, the story of becoming, the ideas, the philosophy, the theology, throws it out and replaces it with this overblown slog that's a total downer. Right off the bat, the first hour of this film consists almost entirely of unnecessary plot points to pad the runtime. It almost feels like a junk drawer of leftover ideas that they just kind of threw in the movie. Whether you're talking about this limbo between the world of the robots and the humans, or the idea that Agent Smith can infect people in the real world. Speaking of Agent Smith, I think it was a horrible idea to bring him back as some counterbalance to the one. It creates a scenario where the third act of this film doesn't fit with the second act of this film or anything else inside of the franchise, because the franchise has always been about the humans battling the robots until the third act of this film, when suddenly it's about Neo teaming up with the robots to stop Agent Smith. And because of this, it leads the franchise to this totally wrong, unsatisfying conclusion. Now, rewatching the film, the Battle of Zion is actually pretty good. It starts off overblown with just a bunch of people doing this, shooting at the sky, but eventually the characters start to have specific missions and it builds some tension inside of it. Now, the action in the rest of the film is just totally forgettable. For the most part, this is a tedious, heartbreaking film to watch. It's not just that it's a very inferior sequel, it's that it botches the mythology while barely being watchable. Our runner-up is The Matrix Reloaded. This movie is a bizarre mix of great ideas, bad ideas, clever ideas, pretentious ideas, amazing special effects, and awful special effects. The central plot line about attempting to acquire the Keymaker in order to infiltrate the robot mainframe is actually pretty good, but it gets totally lost amongst all the subplots, confusing storytelling, and philosophical diatribes.
You remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers.
Everything begins with choice.
No, wrong.
Concurrently, while your first question may be the most pertinent.
Choice is an illusion created between those with power.
Consider that the film spends 30 plus minutes on the capture of the Keymaker, including multiple fight sequences and this massive chase on a freeway, but then when it comes to the big infiltration in the third act, it's done using voiceover and montage as if they had to cut 15 minutes out of the runtime at the last minute. This is then followed by one of the most ludicrous and verbose exposition dumps of all time. 15 years later, I still haven't decided if this was a brilliant deconstructionist plot twist of the mythology that they simply didn't know how to follow it up in the next film, or a perfect example of a storyteller burning their own franchise to the ground in a single scene. Still, the action here is mostly fantastic. If you remove the occasional CGI insertions into the fight scenes, the choreography is very good, and the freeway chase sequence is a bit of a forgotten classic. Now, they also lose a little bit of their weight because Neo is so overpowered in this film that you don't feel any tension at any given point in time. There's literally 2 sequences in the film where he's swoops in to save someone at the last minute while flying, and he literally bring someone back from the dead. In the end, it's a frustrating film whose probably biggest sin was writing the story into a corner. But the winner, the classic, The Matrix. This is one of the great sci-fi films of all time. The brilliance here, which in a weird way is kind of like the brilliance of Quentin Tarantino, is its ability to pay homage to its countless inspirations while creating something new and fresh. It has the dynamic gunplay of John Woo. It has the fight choreography of Yuen Wu Ping. It has the aesthetics of anime. It has the backstory of the Terminator, and then it's infused with the philosophy and theology of both the East and the West. The movie also manages to build a compelling narrative, not around a complex story, but around two questions. What is the Matrix, the world building, and is he the one, the character arc and character development? The first hour of the film tackles that first question, what is the Matrix? And because the world, the scenarios, and the characters are so interesting, you can actually forgive the fact that there's 30 minutes straight of exposition. And then the second half of the film propels you into one of the most exciting third acts of any sci-fi action film. Not just because it has amazing action, fantastic use of special effects, but more so because the second half of the film answers that question, is he the one, in such a satisfying way. But the final layer of brilliance that takes this film up to the next level is that the world, the plot, and the characters were built around the philosophy and theology that they wanted to infuse into the story. It's not that they're exploring ideas through these big, long, philosophical monologues like in the sequels. No, it's incorporated into the story organically. This is one of the great films of the genre. It absolutely holds up 20 years later, so it comes in at number 1. Check out that playlist right over there for more videos just like this one. Click that link down below to follow me over on Instagram, and keep talking movies too much.